I just got back from a week-long trip to Stockholm and Amsterdam, and the reptile room is in need of some maintenance, okay? My partner was looking after them whilst I was away, but some of the animals need feeding, some need cleaning, and their water bowls need doing. So that is exactly what we're going to do in today's video. So let's not mess about. I'm gonna start with the water bowls. Let's get right into it. So let's start with the main reptile wall. I'm gonna take out all of the water bowls and we're gonna give them a good scrub with some Safe 4. Because I have very strong plant lights on pretty much all of my enclosures, my bowls can get a little bit green sometimes. But I had an amazing comment that said if you pop a proper copper penny into the water bowl, it stops it from going green. Now, I haven't had time to try that yet, but if you have tried that, let me know, does it work? I am very interested in trying it out and seeing if it does work because, yeah, my bowls can turn a bit green, especially after a week. I'm going to start out with these two top enclosures here. Up here we have Marmite, and Marmite is my Kenyan sand boa. I have had him for over 2 years now, and in male Kenyan sand boa fashion, he hasn't grown very much. This enclosure here is my Pac-Man frog enclosure. His name is Big Mac. I've had him for about a year, and he is huge. Over here we have one of the newly set up enclosures, and this is my Mexican black king snakes enclosure. I have had him since January, so he's a fairly new addition to the reptile room, and his name is Toast. Down here is my Dumerals boa enclosure. Her name is Chai. I have had her since about March sort of time, and Chai is just amazing. Let me know if I should do a care guide for them because these guys are definitely going up in popularity. Now for the next enclosure, I am going to take Kiki out because she is a little bit crazy. She generally thinks everything is food, so I'm just going to take her out, pop her into a little carry holder whilst I do her water and also whilst I clean her enclosure. It's quite funny because out of my Woma python, my king snake, my Dumerals boa, the one animal I have to use a hook with is my corn snake. The #1 most recommended snake is my most iffy with handling. But anyway, let's get her out. There we go. And once she's out of her enclosure, she is generally absolutely fine. Now I can handle her with ease. It's just going into her enclosure and like reaching in to pick her up. She just thinks everything is food and she tries to eat me. But yeah, she's still lovely. She's a lovely girl. Let's pop Kiki into her box and grab her water bowl. Okay, I've got her water bowl here and I'm just putting all of these bowls into a bucket on the floor. And down at the bottom here we have Bicky, my Woma python. He is my absolute baby. He is so sweet, he's so lovely. But let's just grab his water bowl. Let's take all of these water bowls into the bathroom and give them a good scrub. Okay, I'm going to take all the bowls and I'm just going to pop them into the shower here. Now, I don't worry about cleaning all of these bowls together just because I quarantine all of my animals before I get them. I know that they are infection-free, parasite-free, things like that, because I've had a few people concerned about that before. Now I'm going to take some of this Safe 4 and I'm just going to give all of the bowls a really good spray. This stuff is great at getting through any harsh stains, and it keeps these water bowls looking nice and new because these reptile water bowls that you buy from like specific reptile brands, they tend to get stained and look old very quickly. So Safe 4 is the way to go. Thank you, Safe 4, for sending out so many of your products to me. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of water, fill the bowls up a bit, and I'm going to let them soak. So whilst those bowls are soaking, I'm going to get onto cleaning Kiki's cage. I've popped on some gloves so I can just scoop up the poops that I see or take out any urates, things like that. If you're not a reptile keeper and you don't know what a urate is essentially a hard wee. It can be white or sometimes yellow in colour, and you might see them when they go #2. They are also particularly stinky. Not great. I'm just taking out all of Kiki's hides here. These are custom hides. I made them myself. I do want to make some more soon, so if you'd like to see a tutorial for those, then let me know. I would be happy to do that. But now I'm just going to pull out any poops that I see and pop them in the bin here. I get people asking me how often I have to clean this sort of substrate, I'm using topsoil and play sand. You want to spot clean at a minimum weekly, but you actually don't have to change out the substrate as often as you would with like aspen or lignocell. You can change it out for like a full clean every 3 to 6 months. And then obviously if you add in plants, isopods, springtails, you've got yourself a bioactive enclosure and you never have to do a full substrate change. That's why I love this substrate so much more than aspen, lignocell, things like that. It's a lot easier to work with, it's a lot more natural, it's cheaper, and it's just generally better for the health of your animal. Okay, I've got my spray bottle here and I'm just gonna give everything a good mist. If you're wondering what size this enclosure is too, this is the minimum size for a corn snake, a 4x2x2. Okay, I think that's good enough. Whilst I'm here, I'm also going to give her glass a clean because it's looking very dirty. I'm going to be using Safe4's plastic-free disinfectant wipes. Thank you for sending this out to me, Safe4. Unless they have like literally pooped on it, I just don't bother with cleaning glass. We have very hard water here, which means it gets water stained super easily, and it generally just never looks good. But because I'm going to be doing a reptile room tour soon, I decided I would give it a bit of a clean so it looks nice for the video. All nice and clean. Let's put everything back into the enclosure now. I'll start with the cork bar. She's got hide number 1, her slate for basking, hide number 2, and hide number 3. Let's give her another spray, pop her plants back in, and that is her all done. I am going to do her setup bioactive again soon, so that's why it's looking so empty at the moment. I promise you I will have more clutter in there eventually. Let's get back to the water bowls. Okay, so now these have been soaking for a while, I'm just gonna give them a really good scrub. Because they have been soaking, the algae will literally just fall right off. It's a lot easier to get off than if you spray initially and then start scrubbing. That's why I like to let them soak for so long. Also, always make sure that the scrub brush that you use only for your animals and not for you yourself as people. But now I'm going to spray and rinse them and make sure any Safe4 residue has been washed off. Look at that, they literally look brand new now. Now I'm going to take my ReptiSafe and I'm going to put a couple of drops into each bowl. This makes tap water safe for reptile consumption, and it is super important to keep your reptiles nice and healthy, but it also has added electrolytes and things like that into it, which promotes overall health too. Now let's fill the bowls back up with some water and we can start putting them into the enclosures. There we go, there's Miss Kiki's bowl, and because her enclosure is all done, let's pop her away straight away. Here she is, my lovely girl. Let's go let her explore her nice clean enclosure. She's getting really big now. She's probably about 4 foot. Excuse me, Kiki. Excuse me. There we go. And pop the lock back on. This enclosure here, like I said, is Big Mac's. So let's pop his water bowl in, and I'm also going to give him a spray, and his glass needs cleaning because he likes to fling himself against it. If you're wondering where I got this pressure sprayer from, by the way, it was from Amazon. I don't know if you'll be able to see from here, but Big Mac is just back there. Can you see him? Now, using the same wipes, I'm just going to give this a good wipe down. There we go, nice and clean. Big Mac is all done. This is Marmite again. I'm gonna pop his bowl just in here. He does have UVB, by the way. It's just broken at the moment. I am waiting for the new one to arrive, so hopefully that should come in soon. I'm gonna give him a bit of a spray as well, because if you didn't know, Kenyan sand boas shouldn't really be kept at 20 or 30% humidity. That is far too dry for them. Where they come from, they do actually get quite heavy rainfall every now and then. So I would say 60% is a much better humidity range for them. That's why, again, I love topsoil. Let's give his glass a clean as well. And if you're wondering what these little yellow things are, they are fly traps. I get quite a lot of fruit flies in here. It's mainly because I have bioactive enclosures. Okay, all done. I had to show you what Miss Kiki is doing right now. And people say corn snakes don't climb. Look at her her go. She loves using this background of hers. Okay, next we are doing Chai's enclosure. Hers is bioactive, so I'm not going to go like crazy with the cleaning. I'm just going to take out any poops that I see. The isopods generally take care of the rest. And the springtails too. Just putting some gloves back on. And let's take these urates out. I don't know if she has done a poop whilst I've been away. It doesn't look like it. It does look like mainly just urates. Oh, there's a little poop right in this corner down here. Some snakes and lizards too tend to go in the same place every time. And I have noticed Chai preferring the corners. Before I put all of her hides back in, I'm going to give her a spray down now, just so I can rehydrate her substrate a bit. She is in this hide here, by the way, that I'm spraying. I don't like to bother her too often. I get her out every now and then for a handling session just to tame her down a bit. But she does have a heart deformity, so stressful situations have to be kept to a minimum. So anything like cleaning, whatever, I don't really tend to put her in a container. I just leave her in her enclosure and then we do proper handling sessions. Oh, I think she's gonna pop her head out for us. Hello, Chai. What are you up to? She is just popping her tiny little head out. I say tiny. She's a big girl. She's my biggest snake now. But she's decided to come and say hello to us all. I didn't know if she would come out or not because she is a very deep sleeper. And generally I can do whatever I want in her enclosure and she doesn't wake up. But you coming out to say hello, Chai? Hi. Oh, she is too cute. Okay, let's put all of her stuff back in. Got her half log hide there. This was from Pro Rep. And then she also has this custom hide too. I am gonna pop that just there. And also what is so funny is she has these little coconut hides, right? Like, look at that. Look at how tiny that is. She used to be able to fit in that. Look at that. I can't believe it. Honestly, she is such a big girl now. I'm gonna leave them in there just because sometimes she does like poking her head inside. And then she has her very large branch. Let's try and maneuver this in somehow. Now let's give her glass a clean. Because her panels are so big, it can be a little bit awkward just to get into those corners. My arms aren't long enough. Let's pop her bowl just there. Is that gonna fit there? Yeah, that works. And I need to clean out the tracks of this enclosure because it's getting quite hard to close the door. That's for another day though. Then I'll pop the lock back on. And then here we have Toast's enclosure. This is my partner's king snake. So he would have already spot cleaned because he does most of the caregiving, not me, but I'm gonna give him a spray anyway, clean his glass a bit and pop his water bowl in. Let's pop his water bowl right there. Give his glass a bit of a wipe down. Again, my arms are not long enough for this. And that'll do. Let's do my Woma python next and then we can get on to the geckos and the tarantulas. This is a lot, guys. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I've already been going for a couple hours now. So now we're going to do Bicky's enclosure. I popped him into this little box here whilst I clean him out, just because he loves to follow my hands around. He's a Woma python. He wants some food. So we're gonna pop him in here, let him chill out for a bit whilst I spot clean. Gloves back on. Let's take everything out of the enclosure. Now I wanna sort this plant out whilst I'm in his enclosure because it has started dying and I have no idea why. What has he done to this hide? This was not covered in sand before. He's redecorating. But yeah, this plant is dying. I don't really know why, to be honest. I think he might have like pulled it out. Yeah, I can see the roots. It needs digging back in. So we can do that today. Spider plants are like the easiest plants to resurrect. So I have no doubt that this will be like back to normal in no time. Okay, there we go. Let's add in some more leaf litter because the isopods have been going crazy. I didn't even realize it got this low. I'm just gonna sprinkle it all over. This is the Pro Rep leaf litter, if you're wondering. I really like it because of like how thin it is. It looks so natural, I think. Okay, there we go. It's looking like the Brigalow again. Let's pop his stuff back in. This is his absolute favorite hide. Honestly, Bicky is always inside of this. If you can't find him in either of the others, he's always in there. He does like this one too sometimes, but he's generally either in his warm hide, like basking on his slate, or he's in the middle one. This also used to be the perfect size for him. Now it is far too small. but just for a bit of enrichment, I'll still pop it in there anyway. Now his big branch can go in. And he also has these smaller sticks as well. I just like to rest those, like scatter them across the enclosure. And we can't forget his crocodile because he is Australian. I will give him a good spray, especially this plant in the background here. Okay, he's had a good spray. Let me grab his water bowl. I'll pop that right there. And I'm gonna give his glass a good clean too. Nice clean glass. Okay, let's pop him back in. Go on in, Bicky. Go and explore your nice clean cage. Off he goes. You cannot tell me that Bicky doesn't have just the cutest little face of any snake in the world. Oh, they're too adorable. Guys, you need to get a Woma python. Anyway, let's move on to the other side of the reptile room now and start working on the big reptile room rack. Okay, so this here is the other reptile slash tarantula wall. Up here we have my two Mexican red knees, or my Brachypelma smithi and my Brachypelma hamori. I also have my Brazilian black, my Chilean rose, my Grammostola pulchripes, my Avicularia drurinensis. We also have my desert scorpion and my blue death feigning beetles, my jumping spider. This is my Carabiner versicolor. Then we have my crested gecko, gargoyle gecko, and chameleon gecko. So all of the arachnids have already been fed, so I'm literally just going to water them. If you watched my expo vlog where I got this scorpion and I got the blue death feigning beetles, then you might be very interested to know that they are doing fabulous. They're doing amazing. I'm also going to give my jumping spider just a bit of a spray. Her name is Tapioca. They like it quite humid. I have honestly kind of given up with water bowls and slings because they just bury them like deep in the dirt. So I generally just give them a bit of a spray and they can drink the water droplets. Now I'm just gonna use my tongs to tip up this water bowl because like the slings, my Grammostola pulchripes loves to fill her water bowl with dirt. And then I just fill that up. When I do my reptile room tour, you'll get like a full close-up of all of these enclosures. But just because I don't want to keep you guys too long, I'm going to get through all of the tarantulas quite quickly. Now I'm just going to pull down Morticia from up here and do her water bowl. I don't know how well you'll be able to see her, but she is stunning. She's gorgeous. I've also had her for such a long time. She wasn't my first tarantula. That was the tarantula that the company I worked for gave me, but she was the first tarantula that I bought on my own accord, like with my own money. And she's so lovely as well. She's super chilled out. I've had her since she was like a teeny tiny baby, and she's getting on like adult size now. Also, her enclosure is not a permanent enclosure. I am well aware that these like grates are not very good for tarantulas' fangs, so I am moving away from them. As you can see, all of these enclosures here are not like the faunariums. So eventually I will have proper enclosures for them all. But in here we have Ophelia. She is my largest tarantula. You probably won't be able to see her very well, but she's just in there. Let's fill up her bowl and then pop her back up on the shelf. In here we have my C. versi. I'm going to give her a spray and also fill her water bowl. I just need to make sure that she's not out because she can be a bit bolty. No, she's not. She's in her tunnel. She has a live plant in there, so I'm just giving that a water. And then her glass has gone kind of funky the last time I cleaned it. Hopefully this works a bit better this time because it went all like weird last time. But she's doing amazing in this enclosure. She seems to be a lot more active and like out and about, way more compared to her old plastic cylindrical enclosure. I do think it's because the ventilation is a bit better, so she's just like generally healthier. It's doing it again. I don't know why her enclosure specifically, the glass turns white. What is going on? Now I'm going to bring you a bit closer so we can have a look at the reptiles. This enclosure here is Apple, my chameleon gecko, and she's being super cute right now. I don't want you to miss this. Can you see her little face just there? Oh, she's adorable. So all of the geckos are getting fed today because it is Tuesday, so I'm gonna take out her food bowl and I'm gonna give her a spray. I've also noticed that whilst I was away, a ton of fruit flies have hatched. That's a bit annoying. It's probably because this is a new bag of substrate, but what I'll do is I'll get some mosquito bits, pour that into the substrate, and that'll get rid of them. And before I move on to misting the other geckos, what I'm gonna do is I've got all of their water bowls here. I've scraped out any excess food. I'm gonna pop them in here and I'm gonna soak them for a bit before I clean them. This says F10 on it, but Safe 4 is in here. And I'm just gonna pour that in there, give it a good mix. And now when it comes to cleaning the bowls, it'll be a lot easier because the food will just fall straight off and they'll be all disinfected. So whilst the food bowls are soaking, I am going to give Cheese, my crested gecko, a really good spray down. Whilst I was away, I noticed that his plant light actually wasn't on. My bad. So the umbrella plant is really not doing very well now. Unfortunately, it was doing so well for so long, but yeah, the plant light wasn't on. The UVB on its own seems to have been fine for just this plant and just the snake plant. In fact, the snake plant has some new growth to it, but yeah, the umbrella plant, not looking good. I'm going to give his glass a spray. This is essentially spot cleaning when it comes to crested geckos, just because they love to poop on the glass. I actually only recently set up this enclosure, so if you're interested in seeing that, the full video tutorial sort of thing, I guess, is on my channel. But this enclosure is 45 by 45 by 90 tall, and it is working perfectly for Cheese. He's loving it. Now let's give this a wipe down too. It doesn't seem too bad, to be fair. Sometimes he does love to poop on this though, so it can get pretty messy. This was from the bearded shrimp, by the way. Rebecca from Leopard Gecko sent this over to me, and Cheese is loving it. It makes like a perfect place for him to eat. And it also looks nice, which is good. And then here we have Honey's enclosure. Her plants, as always, are doing really, really well. I'm just gonna give her a spray down and then we'll give her glass a wipe as well. Honey herself is also doing a whole lot better. I can't remember if I told you guys, but she did have a bit of a fall. She jumped onto something a bit weird and her cloaca got a bit inflamed, but she's doing a lot better now. And she is eating like a champ. She's loving the dragon fruit flavor by Blue River Diet because they sent a load of flavors to me to try out. She's loving that one, so I highly recommend that for your gargoyles. Now I'll just give this a wipe. I hate this enclosure so much. I say this all the time. The tracks in it always fall out, so when I'm cleaning the glass will just fall out of the frame. It's just generally quite hard to clean anyway because it's not a front opening cage. But yeah, that'll do. Just a quick wipe down. Let's go make their food. Look at how nice and clean these bowls are. These are disposable bowls, but I think when you have 3 geckos, it's just such a waste of plastic to be throwing them away all the time. I can very easily, as you can see, clean them. But anyway, let's zoom you in a little bit closer and we are gonna make up some food. You know what? I'm gonna try them with a new flavor today, Watermelon Burst. They loved the Pangea watermelon flavor, so hopefully they will like this too. Thank you, Blue River Diets, for sending me out your amazing products. Honestly, I use this stuff weekly. I feed my geckos twice a week, and that has been working perfectly for them on this diet. There isn't like a straight up number of how many times a week you should be feeding your geckos, and that's because every gecko is different. For me, twice a week works perfectly, but for other people that might not be enough, especially if you have baby geckos. You want to feed them more like every 3-4 times a week, or if you have an overweight gecko who loves their food, like if they're cleaning their bowls constantly, twice a week might be too much. So it just depends on how much your gecko actually eats when you offer them food and their age. I feed all the geckos the same amount, and generally they're quite good. They just eat as much as they're willing to eat, so I don't have to worry about, you know, measuring out small amounts for other geckos, because for my chameleon gecko especially, if I give her a tiny amount of food, it just dries out like overnight and she doesn't get the chance to eat it. So I just give her the same amount as my bigger geckos and take it out once I think she's eaten enough. Okay, that's the food all mixed up. Let's pop them into the enclosures and then we're done. One bowl in here, another bowl here, and the last bowl just there. So that is everything for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you do like and subscribe if you did, and comment down below what reptiles you have, how much maintenance you do, and of course what their names are. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.